With 2025 coming to a close and all of the sales coming around for Black Friday to Christmas, or if you're looking to build your home gym towards the end of 2025 and honestly and beyond, today I want to do is talk about the all-in-one racks that I truly have tested, I've reviewed, I've talked about, and I think, in my opinion, are my top racks that I would suggest for anyone out there reaching out to me for all-in-one racks. So stick around to see what I think, and I hope you guys enjoy. All right, guys, so today we are going to cover the all-in-one rack game for 2025 and honestly beyond for people out there looking to build their home gym. So every single one of these racks, I do have the link in the description and on LUKESGARAGEGYM.com. We also have our Black Friday deals out on LUKESGARAGEGYM.com. So if you're buying any of equipment, you, your brother, your sister, your dog, your cat, your goldfish, your crab, or whatever the heck's out there that gets gains at home, use the website, use the links everywhere in the descriptions, and then I get a small commission because as much as I absolutely freaking love doing this is like my dream passion, it's freaking expensive, and helping a small creator when you buy all this equipment with those links is so important to continue doing what we love to do, is bring honest content in the home gym. So appreciate everyone doing that. And if you ever have questions about equipment, please email me at lukesgaragegym@gmail.com. I am always here to help you guys with your purchases, okay? And I always give you my honest take, where your budget is and what I think after using all this. And that's why today's video is important, because when we start a home gym, I think a lot of people are really wanting to figure out what rack they want to start with, because it's like the cornerstone. It's what they build around in their gym. And today I want to talk about the racks I've used that have the half rack, the functional trainer, the Smith machine, and which ones I think I've tested make the most sense. So first of all, let's talk about the budget entry options that I recommend, and then we'll kind of do more of the mid-tier and high tier. Again, these are products I've actually reviewed, I've used, I've tested, not stuff I've just seen online. I've physically used it and recommend it to anyone out there building a gym. Let's talk about number one, my budget option, and it continues to stay that way, is the RitFit M1 2.0. Let's first talk about the plate loaded option. So why I just really like that rack is because the pulley systems are freaking smooth, dude. So smooth. Aluminum pulleys are smooth. They did a nice job of upgrading the pulley systems to make a smooth experience. Honestly, the Smith machine is also very smooth. I think the thing that everyone complains about is it doesn't go low enough for a hip thrust or a deadlift, but there's some trade-offs to things like that when you're under budget, because there's ways around that. I love the fact that that rack has a nice amount of storage for barbells, for plates, for cable attachments. And to be honest with you, I really just think at the end of the day, it's one of the best, or is the best, all-in-one rack. Now, if we think about like how much it is right now, just a plate loaded option, and I actually will pull this up on the website. So through Black Friday sales and using my link and also my code is RFLUKE as well, this thing can be around $1,100 for the plate loaded option, which is so freaking cheap, dude. That is such a good deal. There's a lot of people out there that are like in the $1,500 or less range for an all-in-one rack, and there's a ton of options through Amazon, and you're searching. And to be honest, this is the one that I would want to pick if I had $1,500 or less, because you're not gonna there's not very many options out there for weight stacks for that price, or really at all currently. There is a rack that I'm going to review in the future, but I haven't really reviewed it yet, so I want to wait on that. But if you're in the $1,500 or less range and you're looking for an all-in-one rack and you're going to be stuck with the plate load option, it's a no-brainer. The M1 2.0 is my number one pick. Just keep in mind too, when you're getting a system like this, guys, is it is a 2-to-1 ratio. So if you're pulling one side, it's half the weight. And if you're buying plates too for this type of system, do not get this freaking super thick bumper plates to put on each side because you're limiting the amount you can put on the trolley system and the plate loaded option. So if you get thinner plates, maybe like, I have some rubber coated ones that are pretty decent. You could fit probably freaking 3 on each side or even 4 on each side to be able to do your rows. Now, when it comes to a lat pull down with this type of piece, guys, trolley system goes decently high enough, but for me who's 6 foot, you're not going to be able to get that full stretch that you would want. So they said that they are, hopefully they're going to be working on getting their pull down system for the M1. But I do think that's something you can work around if you wanted to sit on the floor. If you're someone who's obviously shorter than 6 foot, you're not going to have the range of motion issue. But I truly just don't think there's anything better than under $1,500 than that piece for good reason. Now, let's talk about if you're looking for the $2,000 or less range, then I would say you should then 100%, if you have an extra $500 in your budget, get the weight stack version. It's a no-brainer, in my opinion. That is the rack that I currently have in my girlfriend's basement that we use 2 times a week when I'm there over the weekend. And it's been almost a year of 2 times a week use, and it's still as smooth and just well built as it was when we first built it. Now, got to keep in mind these racks are all 14 gauge steel, which is home gym use, which is fine. Like anyone who is not lifting super heavy, you're going to be fine. When I say super heavy, like think about a squat. If you're going 315 bench, you're doing 315, you need to look into more of a higher grade type of steel, commercial grade options, which I will get to in a second. But those stacks, dude, they say it's around 130 pounds, but then the top plate too adds a little bit of weight. But essentially what's nice is it does offer the weight horn option on top, so you could slide the plates on for your heavier rows or your heavier pulls. And for around $2,000, could even be a little bit less too. I think it's, again, it is my number one option if you're around that price range, because it's just, it offers so much functionality and versatility. Again, it's the same thing as the M1, but you're adding the stack. And the stacks, if you're someone who misses the selectorized feel of a machine, it's really nice to get that option just to feel like it's a lot quicker and seamless to be doing all your different exercises. So right now, guys, if you are $1,500 or less, M1 2.0 is my number one pick. If you're around $2,000, I highly recommend the M1 2.0 with the stacks, which I'll have my links in the description for that. They did send me their M2, so I can't give you any input on that yet because I have not reviewed it. So I will make videos on that and do some comparisons between the two. But as of right now, those are my picks for the $2,000 to $1,500 range for a rack for 2025. So now we're kind of getting past the $2,000 range, and we're looking more into like the $2,100 to $3,000 range, which I personally think is more like the mid-tier options out there. Anything less than $2,000, I think, is budget. So $2,100 to $3,000. What do I recommend? And this one has come to me very recently, and I am still blown away, and it's actually right behind me, is the Echo Strength Depot all-in-one system. If you are in the $2,100 to $3,000 range and you're looking for this all-in-one rack with your Smith machine, your functional trainer, and you're getting 11 gauge steel, 3x3 tubing, you got 1-inch holes here, this is a no-brainer as my recommended rack for that price range. Here's why I think that. 11 gauge steel, 3x3 tubing, always is something that becomes with a price because it's thicker gauge steel, and obviously importing steel, that stuff can be expensive. So that alone is incredible to have in that price range. You also get his 200-pound stacks on each side. These pulley systems are freaking smooth, dude. So smooth. I kind of compared it to how the Force USA rack G15 I did, how smooth it is. Like the same with this rack, which blew me away. It does come with, there's a barbell storage on the back here. You also can get some storage back here for your cable attachments. You also get get some rubber handles. You get J-cups, you get spotter arms. The Smith machine is 45 pounds and it is freaking smooth. It's a commercialized piece. for under $3,000. And what's nice is too, they do offer a 10-year warranty. And they gave me a 15% off discount code for pretty much lifetime is Luke's Garage Gym. So this is even cheaper. It's even cheap. It's insane. It blew me away that I found these guys. Shout out to, I had a subscriber reach out and tag me to check them out. And I am so glad I did because they have incredible items and I am just blown away with it. Now, here's really the downside of these racks, which you take it with a grain of salt when you're getting something as nice quality as for that price. The Smith machine does not go low enough for a deadlift or a hip thrust. It does not. You know, the issue was addressed, but you know, it's a couple exercises that you can't do with this. So you could just, you know, use the front uprights with the barbell to be able to do a hip thrust, and obviously deadlifts. You can just come on the front of the rack and do a deadlift. Or for RDLs, you could just use the front of the rack here for RDLs if you wanted to. That is one thing. Also, too, you have to, if you want to get storage or you want to get their lat pull down seat, or you want to be able to get their attachment to put your legs down, they have is a bundle actually right now. So with the bundle and this rack, it's still under $3,000, which is freaking, it's the best in the market for that type of quality. It's not even close. The customer service is excellent, 10-year warranty, and if you have issues with the rack, they will make sure to take good care of you. I have a couple buddies who already got the rack and told me they've had good experience. I'm so glad to see that they feel the same way. I mean, at the end of the day, if you get this system and then get that package deal, really all you would need to get is, you know, you need a bench, you would need to get some plates, and maybe some different cable attachments, which I do recommend on Amazon. I go for Yes for All on Amazon for my cable attachments, and you pretty much have everything you need. Now, here's the thing that people will say, hey, Luke, all right, we noticed that this is a 2-to-1 ratio with the 200-pound stacks on each side. So what you could get is they create this extender that clips onto both the carabiners, and then you put your attachment in the middle, and you can do your heavy pulls, or like your lat pull downs, or your heavier rows. If you're having that issue with, you know, obviously 100 pounds is not enough weight for a row and a lat pull down, you're going to be doing freaking 40, 50 reps. So I recommend getting that extender for now. But here's the crazy thing, and this is why this company is here to stay on the channel, is the company listens to me, and they are in the talks and working on getting some articulating arms as an add-on to this rack, because articulating arms are going to be excellent to converge together for your 1-to-1 ratio of the feel weight of the stacks, and then all that adds a lot more functionality to the rack. So those are coming. So if you're wanting those, just hold off right now. We already had the conversation. They sent me some renders. So that is also huge. And I still feel like if you were to get the arms, it's still going to be around $3,000 with the arms too, using Luke's Garage Gym. It's, in my opinion, if I were looking into the market and I watched the videos on this rack, it would be something that I would instantly be looking at, because as someone who's lifted for over 20 years, I want something that's a little bit beefier quality, just because I'm doing a lot more weight. I'm way more of an advanced lifter, so that's kind of what I would look for, is something like this, especially if with the teacher's salary, you know, this is something I could probably afford. Or worst case, obviously, I would look at the stacked version of the M1 2.0. So that is my option. If you're in the $2,100 to $3,000 range, is this piece from Echo Strength. They also offer, if you don't want the Smith machine, you can just not get the Smith machine, and it's still extremely cheap in that range of $2,000 or a little bit over as well. So check that out. Make sure to use Luke's Garage Gym, that code. They have a Black Friday sale, but it's the same percent off as my 15%. So just if you use Luke's Garage Gym, it's still 15% off. Supports the channel and continues to get more of their products from Echo Strength here in the gym to continue testing. So now we're going to hit the $3,000 to, let's say, $4,500 range, which in my eyes, I feel like is getting more towards the higher tier racks. I mean, obviously, there's even more higher tier, $5,000 or more, which I actually did. The G15 was over $5,000. That was the most expensive rack that I ever did. But I want to think realistically that most people are, you know, I have people that will spend $3,000 to $4,500 on a rack. And this is the brand that I recommend. You might already know, Maxim Fitness. They are continuously blowing me away with how nice their freaking systems are, dude. So if you're looking for the all-in-one system with the Smith machine, the weight stacks, and all the storage options, and all of those attachments, I recommend you getting the Maxim Fitness SX2. Now, why do I like the SX2? Well, for many reasons. Well, number one is I think the height of it is 88 inches, which in my opinion is perfect height for pretty much most gyms. I wanted to mention the Echo rack is 93 inches tall. Just keep that in mind height-wise for that. Just jumping into that. But going back into the Maxim rack, something that I do think which stands out with the Smith machine, it's the lowest Smith machine that I've ever used. It's very close to actually getting to the ground, so where it's the closest I've ever been able to get to doing an actual hip thrust with full range of motion and be able to do a deadlift for RDL. So it's the lowest Smith machine I personally ever used. And what I really like about their racks is 3x3 tubing, 11 gauge steel. Their stacks are 220 pounds per side. Plus you have weight horns on the stacks as well. And you have articulating arms. You have 6 weight horns for storage. You also get an array of attachments to where you don't really need to buy really many more attachments. You get so much with their system. Really, to me, what I would only buy separately is I would get the 2-in-1, the 2-to-1 piece that connects the articulating arms, and then you can add your cable attachments to get the arms together for that 1-to-1 ratio. I would also try to get, like me, I like my RitFit handles way better than their rubber handles. I would also get maybe a nice row, maybe another row attachment or some cable attachments. But like for me, like if you get this rack in, there's not much else that you really would need besides also the basics like plates and a bench. But what's nice is right now they actually are having a sale. So on their website, on their Black Friday sale, they are doing, so for over $1,000 you can get up to 100% off anything else. Over $1,500 you can get up to $150 of anything else. Over $2,500 you can get up to $250 off. Over $3,000 you can get up to $300 off. Over $3,500 up to $350 off, and over $4,000 you can get up to $400 off. So like I said, if you're wanting to get a bench, you're going to get that money off the bench, so you can get the bench in. And then if you're wanting to get something, maybe you really like, I really like looking at their leg extension leg curl machine, you might be able to get some money off that too. So I think that's nice to have is that deal right now to where you can get some money off other things they have, so you can continue to build your gym around that. But I think what I want to talk about with them as well is the lifetime warranty, the free shipping in the continental US, and they ship to Canada. So I actually have a Canadian link on my website. I have my US link on my website and in the description everywhere too. They also do discounts for teachers, first responders, and military, which I think is incredible. So I think that adds a lot to it. The Smith machine is freaking smooth as butter, dude. The pulley systems are freaking smooth as butter, dude. I really like they added that extra pulley aspect so that you can do like a curl or a row, because the arms can go very long out. They don't have the vertical arms yet. They are coming out with their mutant arms eventually here. I will get those in and test those for you guys. But I just feel like that SX2 rack, it has everything you need and more. It's literally, I've mentioned this like 5 times, you're dropping a tank in your gym. It will last you the rest of your life. I would be stunned if you really need to use the warranty for really much of anything, as long as you take good care of it. I know people are like, oh, why would I get the SX2? It's got 5/8 holes. This is just my opinion on that. You don't really need all these freaking attachments, dude. It's going to be ridiculously cluttered and too much. You already get so much. This is my opinion, though. You don't need all that. You don't. But if for someone that really likes seeing the standard 3x3 11 gauge steel 1-inch holes, then check out the X3. The X3 is the same thing as the SX2, except it's got 1-inch holes. And I did notice that the articulating arms can attach to your Smith machine, so that you can use the Smith machine with the stacks if you want to get that cable tension. It's really, in my opinion, the main differences. I also did too is I did my review of the X2. That does not have the Smith machine in it because this video is really tailored towards the all-in racks, the Smith machine. But here's the thing. You can add one of their Smith machines into the X2, and on their site currently, I actually have the XSA that I'm going to do a video on eventually. The XSA is around 500, a little under $600. You want to add it onto the X2 rack. I've had a lot of questions about their trolley system, the XST, which currently is only about $415. I haven't used it personally, so I can't tell you how good it is, but it is something that if you're not really wanting a Smith machine right now, look at the X2. It's a 6-post rack, and you can put the Smith machine inside the 4 posts as an added on feature if you want to down the line. So it's nice to have that Maxim Fitness if you wanted to get that X2 rack and add the Smith machine on. That is an option as well if that's not something you're wanting to do. Same with the Echo Strength rack. If you don't want the Smith machine, that add-ons there as well. Now, I want an honorable mention rack here that personally I've been working with them for a long time. They treated me right, and I do think the rack is solid. I just think, currently right now I gravitate towards Echo, but I think, and I personally believe, the Major Fitness B52 Pro is a solid piece. I really think that this piece offers a lot of functionality and versatility out there in the home gym. They're a big brand in the budget option home gym space. Actually, right now through Black Friday, their rack is actually pretty affordable. It's a little over $2,000, and in my personal opinion, that's where that probably should be at. It makes sense to have it a little over $2,000 to compete with the M1 2.0. Why? I can see why their rack is a little bit more expensive than the M1 2.0 because they did upgrade to the 12 gauge steel uprights, which is the thicker gauge steel, so obviously that's an extra cost. Their weight stack is 107 in each side. Obviously with the RitFit rack that comes with the weight horns, theirs does not. But they did drop is their weight extender kit. That is really nice to be able to slide on more plates to get more of heavier pulls like a row or a lat pull down. They also added their lat extension piece. So if anyone is a taller with longer arms, you can get full extension. Which adding you only need one lat extension piece and one weight extender piece. That's a little over 200. I think it's a little over probably $250 or in that range. So the rack is around $2,400, $2,500. If you get all of that in there, and you get a lot of attachments that come with it too, like you get a landmine, dip handles, you get a lat bar, you also get a curl bar, you get a lot of storage on the back for your plates. The Smith machine is pretty smooth. I think the pull-up bar is not bad. I personally like the pull-up bar because I like the multiple grips. I don't really care for the one that's the straight bar. That's just me though. I do like that they had some new features to their J-cups and spotter arms by pinning them so that it's nice and stable. It's not going anywhere. It's a good rack. I like the color options. I don't think it's a bad piece. If you're someone on the fence with Major Fitness as well, I do think it's a nice option. Obviously, I picked the other ones, but at the end of the day, I like the brand. I think it's a good rack. It's an option. I think it's just kind of up to you guys what you are wanting to spend and what makes the most sense for you. And that's why I made this video today to kind of talk about the racks that I test, I use, I like. Those are my recommendations where, it stands out to me. And at the end of the day, you, the watcher, have to decide what makes sense for you. And this is why I'm here to give you my honest take on what makes sense. Again, I appreciate everyone. If you buy through RitFit, use Luke's Garage Gym code to check out with Echo. You use Maxim Fitness link. Or if you really think Major Fitness rack makes sense for you, you use that link. I also am going to be getting in their Heritage series for Major Fitness to see how well that competes, because that rack is going to be more in the higher tier comparing to Maxim. How does it compare to Maxim Fitness? Stay tuned for that because that's definitely something that I'm going to get in the gym. Also, I have the M2 rack from RitFit to review as well. So we have a lot of different racks, and we also have honorable mention BFit Now, their relentless monster rack. Things a beast is coming to the gym. We actually are reviewing the Drone 2 for Major Fitness as well. So I've kind of got my rack brands that I like to work with that I think are the most popular, and for good reason, that I want to continue to cover for you guys. And in 2026, I'm gonna do a lot more of like features and specs of attachments and different pieces of these racks to be more in depth, because I enjoy reviewing power racks, all rack, because that's what I train with and what I use the most. So stay tuned for a lot more content on that. I appreciate everyone supporting the page and cannot wait to bring you more content soon on Luke's Garage Gym. It's Luke, Luke's Garage Gym. See you guys later.